Hello, it's a lovely good evening. Welcome to Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Our top stories in the news tonight: a new Heritage Party President CHISHALA KATEKA calls for immediate short-term measures to lower the cost of living. Royal Highness Senior Chief MULENDEMA appeals for schools amidst free education. Zambia Anti-Tribalism organization challenges police to arrest those reported for uttering tribal remarks. In international news, Ethiopia forces accused of deadly attack as Tigray war escalates. And in sports news, Camnet Stars beats BAULENI Super Eagles 2-0.
Are you a business organization or an individual with a dream to register your presence in Zambia and around the world? Waste no time, because Camnet Television is offering an opportunity to sponsor any of the following programs: the main news, national matters, breakfast show, the verdict, partnership of greatness, economic briefcase, business and sports news. For more details, call following numbers. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Hello again, another news in detail. Manyama residents of Kalumbila district have lamented over the poor state of most street roads, which they say become almost impassable during the rainy season. In an interview, the residents say despite the area being 500 meters away from Lumwana mine boundary, the roads in the area have never received any facelift. Among other challenges, the residents say the area lacks running water, a supermarket and banks, which has been making it difficult for civil servants to access their salaries.
Located 500 meters away from the multi-million Lumwana mine boundaries is Manyama Township in Solwezi district of Northwestern Province, which has in a long time remained without receiving much development. These are some of the street roads which the people of the area have been subjected to use. As part of this road leads to Lumwana Hospital, which during the rain season is almost impossible to pass, as only drivers familiar with the roads get lucky. With the constituency development funds having increased to 25.7 million kwacha, the residents of the area are now calling on the government through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to see how quickly these roads can be worked on before the onset of the rain season.
This road just going direct to the hospital, but the way the road looks, there is too much potholes, and I think maybe you can just work on it.
Mvura yafika karake kimi kya mvura ketwena kwenda bulongo machinda yetu nanga ke mvura tune mikwa kwa itwijina ma potwo bijina bimbo bya vula bingi bimbo bya vula bina kuleta ne mapuso mambo ako mwana kupita ne bantu ke mpita tu myotokane mwana kupita bantu mwana kupita bana babacheche
bano eba bikire mu grave oya kubamba isa kurondoroka burongo ne byo yashire kimye kyamayo tumashinda tonse twaya twapoye kangabyo nkabe munakumona pape.
Among other challenges, the residents say they do not have running water and want those tasked with the responsibility to provide clean water to come to their aid.
Na mesh tatukweja mesh tole no dayawa amatunafe mu mandrai so tole romba batupangire kwa mesh nokutuwamisha ko amarodi yali na ikishita amayinza tatuenda bwino seboshire sura na mesh.
Meanwhile, Area Councillor Felix Kalongo, when contacted for a comment, says 1 million kwacha has already been set aside for the construction of roads in the area.
We are very much aware of the bad state of the roads, and this is the reason as to why we allocated 1 million towards road construction in Manyama, which will be done very soon. I think one of the things which is happening, which has delayed us, is the issue of community engagement.
The slow rate at which the constituency development funds are being dispersed leaves much to be desired, as most community projects have failed to take off because money is still lying in some bank accounts. There is need for the government to therefore find a way of ensuring that CDF resources are dispersed on time way before the rain season. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Zambia Anti-Tribalism Youth Organization, ZATIO, has challenged the Zambia police to call on all those who allegedly issued tribal remarks during the 2021 general elections and were reported to the police. In an interview with Camnet News, ZATIO chairperson Joshua Sondashi notes that despite the organization having reported a number of high-profile politicians to the Zambia police shortly after the general election in relation to tribal remarks, no one has yet been summoned. The organization adds that if no action is taken soon, they will be left with no choice but to write to the Inspector General of Police to give a directive for action to be taken. More in this report.
The campaign period for the 2021 general elections was a fully charged political atmosphere as political parties tried to woo voters in a tightly contested race. Named politicians in the quest to gain numbers, however, allegedly uttered tribal remarks to gain political mileage using various media platforms, both traditional and social media. The Zambia Anti-Tribalism Youth Organization, ZATIO, has however noted that the named individuals who are reported to the Zambia police by different concerned citizens, including the organization itself after the general elections, have not yet been called for questioning, posing as a source of worry towards the fight against this vice in the country. ZATIO chairperson Joshua Sondashi was speaking to Camnet News.
So we spotted the remarks from Biswell Mtale, we spotted some tribalism remarks for Madam Dola Syria. We also got some remarks from Shimba Kambwiri. So we have the footage of these remarks. They are exposing themselves actually in different medias. And as an organization, we found some for reference for future use. So these are some of the cases that we reported to the police at Hoodlands and HQ headquarters itself right there. So they are pending.
Meanwhile, organization publicity secretary Dixon Zulu has highlighted the negative effects of this vice.
As a nation, we are very much aware of the past incidences, especially during elections. We have had a lot of challenges in terms of tribalistic remarks, both by opposition parties, the then opposition parties, and even the current government. Some leaders were gotten or spotted in using tribalistic remarks. Nevertheless, as a publicity secretary, my role is very simple. I will endeavor to support and bring in my level best so that we can, together as a nation, we can fight tribalism.
The organization now says it will write to the Inspector General of Police, Lemika Joba, so that the reported individuals can be called for questioning. They have called for the arrest of all those found guilty to warn would-be offenders. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
New Heritage Party President CHISHALA KATEKA has urged the United Party for National Development, UPND, to put in place immediate short-term measures to lower the cost of living so that ordinary Zambians can begin to benefit from the new administration. Speaking after visiting Charleston Market in Lusaka to assess the prices of basic commodities, Ms. KATEKA notes that the average price of most commodities is still beyond the reach of most Zambian citizens. The New Heritage Party leader, who also took a bus ride from Lusaka's Kolima Tower bus station to Lilai Township to appreciate what ordinary citizens are going through, says current bus fares in Lusaka are averaging 15 kwacha and are thereby disadvantaging citizens.
So we went to the Charleston Market and we were looking at the prices of commodities in the market. Carpenter, like that one there, is something like 40 kwacha. And we were very surprised at how expensive life has become. And you are wondering if Abapamulu, they are shocked at this price. What about the people on the ground? How expensive is life? It's the quality of life cannot be very good for the Zambians. And we really must find a way of addressing the cost of living of Zambia.
Lands and Natural Resources Minister Elijah Mchima has hinted that he cannot go against the court's ruling to request that houses built in Forest 27 be demolished. Mr. Mchima says the courts have already ruled that the land in question was degazetted by a sitting president, therefore making it legal for the occupants of the land. The minister says the difference between Forest 27 and Kasompe on the Copperbelt, where houses were demolished, is that Forest 27 was degazetted while Kasompe settlement was illegal. He says the only way to protect the remaining land in Forest 27 is to conduct a geohydrology setup to see how it is affecting the water.
Why was Forest 27 degazetted? It served the personal interests. The self-interest was key. And what we have done is we have taken this matter to anti-corruption, because the president of that day had the powers to degazette, and they have been ruling in the High Court and the Supreme Court regarding the same. I cannot go against that. What we need to do is now we have to take another route. First of all, how was the land alienated? How was it given out? Was there adverts and what have you? All that is being investigated. The anti-corruption is looking at that. Secondly, we need to relook at the scientific provisions over the water recharge. And that we are already sitting, there is a team sitting, there is a report. We shall inform the public on the hydrology setup of that to see how it is affecting the water. Otherwise, then there will be conditions. But the remainder of that 600 something hectares, that one we are going to protect it, it will even be under title. And this reminds me to tell you that all government institutions, land and what have you, which is in the hands of the government, we are now going with a program to put them on title so that we protect it. It's different from Forest 27 with the Kasompe issue. Kasompe issue, people went there illegally. Forest 27, people did not go there illegally. It was degazetted and they were given. The president, by then President Lungu had powers, he degazetted it.
His Royal Highness Senior Chief Mulendema of the Ila-speaking people in Mumba district has appealed to government to construct more schools amidst the introduction of free education. Speaking through his representative Sydney Shinyenda during the Munyama traditional ceremony, the chief says the introduction of free education by government has increased the enrollment of pupils. The traditional leader has also called on government to construct more health facilities in order to prevent the local people from walking long distances to access health facilities. Speaking as guest of honor, Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua, who is also Mumbwa Central Member of Parliament, says government is committed to develop the district. Mr. Nanjua notes that government, through the Constituency Development Fund CDF, will complete the construction of Chikwakwa Health Post in the area before the end of 2022. More in this report.
Traditional ceremonies are said to be a catalyst for unity, tourism, and generally fostering development in various chiefdoms countrywide. Saturday, the Ila people of Mulendema in Mumba district held their ceremony for the first time in 3 years. Traditional leaders also use such events to highlight the gains and losses made in the areas such as the provision of education and health. Among the most highlighted at this year's traditional ceremony are the inadequacies in the provision of education and health. The introduction of free education by government has continued to raise concern countrywide, with Chief Mulendema in Mumba district raising a call for government to construct more schools. Speaking at Munyama traditional ceremony of the Ila people of Mulendema, Chief Representative Sydney Sinyenda says the schools have enrolled to capacity, which shows that people are responding to the free education policy. He has in this regard noted that while progress has been made, that more people are enrolling in schools, government needs to intervene and ensure that more schools are built to accommodate more children.
We do not have adequate healthy facilities within our chiefdom. As a result, people are forced to cover long distances in order for them to access healthy facilities. One of the big challenges that we have, we would like, with your help, Honorable Minister, our MP, to ensure that we increase the education facilities in this chiefdom.
Speaking as guest of honor, Central Province Minister Credo Nanjoa says all concerns raised at the ceremony are being worked on by government. He says a check at one of the schools in the area revealed that expansion of infrastructure is needed.
This morning I was at Lusekelo School, where I was informed that from the time when the free education policy was introduced by the new John government under the leadership of President HIGHNESS, the number of learners has increased from 900 to 1,200. And the government under the leadership of President HIGHNESS, in response to these challenges, has introduced CDF and sent a lot of money to the district so that we can be able to handle these challenges. We do not want to see any children not brought to school. We don't want to see those who take their children into marriage at early stage before they are ready.
Mr. Nanjoa, who is also Mombwa Central Constituency Member of Parliament, has also revealed that a health post is being constructed and will be completed by the end of 2022.
Government is constructing the Chakwakwa health post through CDF. Your Royal Highness, we are very determined to complete the project before the end of this year. What we need to put in place, Your Royal Highness, is a staff house, a borehole, an incinerator, and a pollution block. We are ready to do that, Your Royal Highness, and work will begin in a space of 2 weeks.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News.
The Vinkankanimba tribe of the Tumbuka-speaking people in Mafinga district of Muchinga province have celebrated their annual ceremony Saturday, 27 August 2022. Speaking during the ceremony, Senior Chief Muyombe Temwanani, who spoke through his representative, has commended government for a number of developmental initiatives and fulfillments they have put in place. The traditional leader says among the developmental projects includes the introduction of free education, teacher recruitment, and the increase in the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. And speaking at the same event, Northern Province Minister Henry Sikawezi says the UPND government is committed to ensuring that development is taken to the people across the country. Details in the following report.
Vinka Kanimba traditional ceremony is an annual event held by the Tumbuka-speaking people of Mafinga district, tracing its origin to Ujiji of Central Africa in the 17th century. Vinka Kanimba is remembered for his hunting and leadership skills, leading his people to now Mafinga district. The people share a rich history as a unifying factor for development. Hundreds gathered on Saturday, 27th August 2022 to celebrate their heritage in dances and songs. Speaking during the ceremony through his representative, Senior Chief Muyombe Temwani I has held the government for facilitating development in the area.
The Isoka Muyombe Chama Road has been on our minds and on our lips for a long time, sir. Guest of honor, sir, it is our plea that this has to be considered because it will help in the economic growth of our chiefdom and the district at large. Employment of civil servants. Over 41,000 civil servants have been amongst these are 30,496 teachers. This will definitely reduce the pupil-teacher ratio. The employment of 11,276 health workers will really help in the service delivery in the Ministry of Education of Health.
And officiating the event, Northern Province Minister Henry Sikazwe says the UPND government is paying attention to the needs of the people.
Government is equally keen on improving the welfare of the people and will pay attention to the challenges that they face. Traditional events such as this ceremony play an important role in promoting a sense of belonging. Traditional leaders who are the custodian of culture and also key stakeholders towards the development process of our nation.
And Mafinga Constituency Member of Parliament, Robert Chabinga, has assured that progress will be attained on road works.
People of Mafinga don't need anything. The first priority that people need here is the road if meaningful development can happen in this district. The three chiefs, they said, if anything, let's channel the 25.7 million kwacha to the road, but which was very minimal. However, we are so grateful to state that we have been given the 5 million kwacha for the Vemba Bridge. That has to be sorted. I think next week the engineers has to be on the ground.
Despite the challenges the people face, unity is what this ceremony aims to achieve to actualize sustainable development in this part of the country. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
A youth-led non-governmental organization operating in Lusaka's Kanyama constituency has challenged other youths to engage in productive activities aimed at helping the community without expecting anything in return. Speaking to Camnet News after conducting a general cleaning exercise at Banda Maswako Market within the community Saturday, Organization Executive General Michael Sekeleti says youths should not only cry for empowerment, but also volunteer for good works in their communities. Meanwhile, Kanyama Ward 13 Councillor Leonard Chelo, who was also present during the exercise, has urged market traders and community members to ensure their surroundings are kept clean at all times to avoid the outbreak of diseases such as cholera. More in this report.
Youths in many Zambian communities are known for illicit activities such as alcohol and substance abuse, as well as various criminal activities, citing limited employment and economic opportunities. These are youths from Lusaka's Kanyama constituency who have taken the task of keeping the community clean through collecting garbage. The youths who targeted Banda Masauko Market Saturday morning for cleaning have urged their fellows not to be known for illicit activities or seeking empowerment, but also for productive activities. Speaking to Camnet News, Industrious Youth Executive Secretary General Michael Sekeleti says the number of ways in which youths can contribute positively are unlimited, urging them to rise to the challenge.
We are calling upon the youths from all walks of life to join us in this particular campaign. Because if you look upon this campaign, it's a non-partisan campaign that everyone needs to participate in. You know, us being youths are the ones who use these particular markets, and these are our surroundings. Failure to keep upon these surroundings very clean will result in the outbreak of diseases such as cholera, and we don't want this to be the case in this particular area. And I'm calling upon my fellow youths countrywide to keep up. Let's get into the ground and clean upon our surrounding.
In a separate interview, Kanyama Ward 13 Councillor Leonard Chelo, who also participated in the exercise, has challenged community members not only to rely on local authorities to keep their surroundings clean, stating that the onus is on every citizen.
We sensitized the marketeers 3 weeks ago that on this day we have to come together and clean the market. What we want is to clean. We don't want the outbreak of cholera. As you know that Kanyama, year back, it was known as a cholera area. But now, there's no cholera in Kanyama. We have managed to clean our surrounding. And I'm appealing to the residents of Kanyama to keep on sensitizing the children, the neighbors, to keep their surrounding clean.
Mr. Chelo notes that this is key to preventing health hazards, especially in densely populated areas. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Anizo Power Engineers Limited proprietor Amanita Diallo has challenged women not to shun participating in the mining sector. Ms. Diallo tells Camnet News that women need to help each other in order to enhance their footprints in the male-dominated industry. She says women should trash the notion that mining is just for the men, but that mining can be done in a more sustainable way without destroying the environment. Ms. Diallo says despite some challenges, mining is fruitful and exciting with perseverance.
Has had the concept that it is a male-dominated field, and of course, I mean, it is notable in Zambia, particularly. Whenever anyone comes across, mining activities, the first thing you think about, okay, it's a male-dominated field. But me, being a woman here, that, of course, cancels that concept. So I would like to encourage my fellow women folk to take on, mining. It is an exciting industry in itself, and of course we should always make sure that we are doing, mining in a more sustainable way that does not, injure our environment in the long term. At the same time, we should empower each other. We should support each other as women to be able to build ourselves.
This is Camnet Television News. We'll take our first commercial break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
It's census time. The 2022 Census of Population and Housing will be conducted from 18th August to 14th September 2022. The census collects a lot of data for use in various aspects of social and economic planning for the country. We are all required to participate in the census by being counted. You will be counted from your usual dwelling place by a census enumerator. Please receive and cooperate with the census enumerator and provide the required information when you will be visited. Your responses to the census questions will be treated with strict confidentiality and will be used for statistical purposes only.
Hi, I'm coming to count you.
Because everyone counts. This message is brought to you by the Zambia Statistics Agency with support from the UNFPA.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Kabwata constituency member of parliament Andrew Tayengwa says he will continue to support projects in his constituency using his own resources if need be. The area member of parliament, who Saturday morning made a donation of 100 bags of cement and a pledge of 60,000 metric tons of sand to Kamulanga Seventh-day Adventist Church, says the donations will be in form of materials and not cash, owing to the confusion that mostly comes with the handling of cash. The area member of parliament has since pledged to continue supporting God's work by supporting churches that call on his office for financial support. More in this report.
Kabwata Member of Parliament Andrew Tayengwa has continued his journey of community charity works and says provided he remains the area Member of Parliament for Kabwata, he will continue to help support projects in his constituency using his own resources. The area Member of Parliament Saturday joined congregants at Kamulanga Seventh-day Adventist Church in Lusaka's Kuku compound, where he made a donation of 50 bags of cement and pledged another 50 bags and 60,000 metric tons of sand, which will go towards the completion of plastering of the church.
And every time I'm going to give out donations to the church, I'll prefer to give it in material forms, not in monetary forms. The reason why I want to give it in material forms because many people appreciate when they see the material. And like when you give out money, then there are other issues that will arise within the circles of the church. So it's not only this church that I'm giving out such donations. I'll be able to extend even to other churches like the way I've done it in the past, and I'll continue doing it. I hope we'll be able to work together, the body of Christ and the office of the area member of parliament, so that we can build our communities together.
And Church Elder Mwanga has thanked the area member of parliament for the gesture, which he says will go a long way in completing the church building.
This donation that we have received, it will take us a long way. Want to encourage other government officials to come on board to assist communities like this, Kamulanga and other churches nearby our church. Thank you very much for your visit. we really appreciate as a church, because without this help, it would have taken us a long way to finish the church.
The visit of the area member of parliament was, however, not short of complaints, as this volunteer health worker appealed to the area member of parliament to find a way of compelling government to be paying volunteer workers on time whenever donor funds are released.
Malaria, now impyanga bafanda lingama ya ama donors na kufa kude kuja tatubeshimana wangu wati na ifo tuwomfike kumanda ekintu nakira dasha baba katika ebudde wati batulekira ko amano kutanchikulya.
Charity works done in good faith will always be recognized by the people and God Almighty. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Minister of Technology and Science Felix Mutati has urged citizens to explore beyond ordinary business ideas as they seek financial liberation. Officiating at the new album launch by St. Ignatius Catholic Church Saturday in Lusaka, Mr. Mutati notes that business ideas can even come from the church and are not limited. He has since challenged citizens to think outside the box and come up with various initiatives, stating that these economic activities will benefit the country in the long run.
The only thing that I'll urge our people that are gifted to sing is that we need to work hard and use our imagination. Ukulaimba kona shimbi nyimo pakuti tule isa lyonse. Tulafayo kumfokwa kanyu. Kanaka kutubusha kachelo. Bafada chimbi Ninti Shiba, we have challenges. But we also need to invest in issues of quality. Bakati maikile umfika wino. Na mwishwanga na tukota maikile umfika wino. Ne finimba file umfika wino. Kuti mwa papa wafye wemba. Tumulese kase. So kuti chawa mawa father. Na ngutatukwe eteo tuingiyo. Tuwombele pamo. To demonstrate that we can actually sing much, much better if we improve our quality.
Senior agricultural research expert in the Ministry of Agriculture says there is need to generate smart agricultural technologies as a way of addressing climate change challenges in line with the well-outlined strategies in the 8th National Development Plan. Zambia Agricultural Research Institute Deputy Director for Research Services Dickson Nguni says promoting smart agriculture among the farming community will enhance agricultural production and productivity in the country. Dr. Nguni was speaking when he graced the Zambia Agricultural Research Institute ZARI Review and Planning Meeting for 2022 held at Mutanda Research Station in Kalumbila District. More in the following report by Krivet Chituta of Nice.
40 kilometers from Sorel Central Business Center is Mutanda Research Station in Karumbira District. The station, which is sitting on 317 hectares, is under Zambia Agricultural Research Institute Department in the Ministry of Agriculture in Northwestern Province. Its overall objective is to generate and adapt crop and soil technologies aimed at increasing agricultural productivity and diversify production. The institute is also providing in-service training to the Ministry of Agriculture and imparting new farming technologies to farmers in the district. Despite facing challenges, the department is here to review and plan for the next farming season.
We need to be generating climate-smart agricultural technology. When we talk of climate-smart agricultural technologies, we're talking about crop varieties, we're talking about agronomic practices that are addressing issues of climate change. We should also be looking at, are we making available the planting materials that farmers require? We also have to bear in mind as we plan that we need to be analyzing soils in our labs.
We want to strengthen these linkages and improve the communication, because as a research station, if we don't network with stakeholders, it will be very difficult for us to deliver on our mandate.
Ministry of Agriculture in the province, through extension services, values the collaboration with the Research Institute and farmers.
As the Ministry of Agriculture, We value this relationship between what I would call agricultural extension as well as research and also the farmers. It is a very, very important relationship which determines really the direction of our agricultural development. I think that as agricultural extension, we cannot do what we do unless that there is this support from research.
Farmers and other stakeholders in the district were also part of the meeting.
It's a lot of things that we've learned today, especially our farmers who have just come for the first time. They don't know. The last time I came, it was last year, like me. I hope even my friends have learned a lot, and we know we shall change, most especially about armyworms and the cassava and the sweet potatoes.
The local leadership is pleased with the inclusion of the farmers in the meeting.
We have learned a lot how our farmers can participate in collaboration with the research station officers. The research officers also, they have learned that they have to continue with the local farmers and the entire northwestern province.
The management at Mutanda Research Station also appealed to the government to rehabilitate the dam through compaction of the spillway. Cliver Chituta reporting in Karumbira District, Northwestern Province.
We'll take our second and final break. We'll be back with international and sports news. Stay tuned.
It's census time. The 2022 Census of Population and Housing will be conducted from 18th August to 14th September 2022. The census collects a lot of data for use in various aspects of social and economic planning for the country. We are all required to participate in the census by being counted. You will be counted from your usual dwelling place by a census enumerator. Please receive and cooperate with the census enumerator and provide the required information when you will be visited. Your responses to the census questions will be treated with strict confidentiality and will be used for statistical purposes only.
Hi, I'm coming to count you.
Because everyone counts.
This message is brought to you by the Zambia Statistics Agency with support from the UNFPA.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. And now in international news, clashes between rival militia groups in Libya erupted in the capital Tripoli on Saturday. Supporters of Haitham al-Tajuri, the leader of the Tripoli Revolutionaries Brigade, fought with armed groups linked to militia leader Abdel Ghani al-Kikli. Witnesses say al-Tajuri's TRP defeated al-Kikli's forces to take control of the internal security headquarters, hold 3 people and seize several cars. In other international news, in Ethiopia's northern Tigray region, an air attack has killed at least 4 people, including 2 children. The federal government denied the allegation, saying the Air Force targeted only military sites and accused Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, forces of staging civilian deaths. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
An airstrike in the capital of Ethiopia's Tigray region could signal a new phase of renewed fighting. Local media say the central government is responsible for the attack in an area controlled by rebels from the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, or TPLF.
I think the airstrike hit around noon. Our neighborhood is a residential area, so only civilians live here.
The fighting, which began earlier this week, marks the end of a ceasefire that was agreed to in March. It also derails efforts to negotiate a peace deal between Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's government and TPLF fighters.
It's important to have some insight about why this war resumed right now. Tigray was under effective siege, receiving no fuel, no electricity, no communication, no banking. Tigray forces are at their weakest point right now.
The fighting has made an already dire humanitarian crisis worse. Millions of people have been displaced, with more than 3,000 reportedly fleeing from the region every day. The UN and other aid agencies have been able to deliver some aid in the past few months. Earlier this week, the head of the World Food Program accused TPLF fighters of stealing food and more than 500,000 liters of fuel. Humanitarian aid meant for civilians never reached its target.
All the parties need to do whatever they can to protect civilians, and also, very importantly, I think, to ensure the unimpeded passage of humanitarian goods.
The latest round of violence is raising concerns that could put even more people at risk in Tigray and the surrounding Amhara and Afar regions.
A once-in-a-generation pandemic brought the world's first mRNA vaccines to the market at warp speed. Millions of lives were saved. Billions of dollars were earned. Now, one of the manufacturers, Moderna, is suing its biggest rival Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech, it says, for copying its invention. The CEO says the lawsuits are aimed at protecting the technology that they pioneered and invested in years before the pandemic began.
They're not asking for any of the money for that Pfizer might have made from the U.S. government. So all of that is neutral because they don't want that money. They're not asking for an injunction to stop anybody, and they're not suing everybody. They're basically suing Pfizer. I think that, in fact, they're probably thinking that if they win this lawsuit, they'll be in a position to license other companies that want to do this.
Researchers are exploring if mRNA technology can fight diseases such as cancer, malaria, and HIV. These lawsuits are an opening shot at who gets to protect its future.
What's at stake is absolutely huge because, what Moderna is trying to do is to form a near monopoly of mRNA technology. That's going to stifle innovation. Not just with COVID vaccines existing, but future generations of COVID vaccines and vaccines for influenza, Ebola, and other kinds of emerging infectious diseases that we need to tackle.
As countries learn to live with a pandemic that once stopped the world, the battle has only just begun over who owns the technology and who keeps the profit.
Clashes between rival militia groups in Libya erupted in the capital Tripoli on Saturday. Supporters of Haitham al-Tajuri, the leader of the Tripoli Revolutionaries Brigade, fought with armed groups linked to militia leader Abdul Ghani al-Kikli. Witnesses say al-Tajuri's TRP defeated al-Kikli's forces to take control of the internal security headquarters, holding 3 people and seizing several cars. Libya has faced conflict and instability since a NATO-backed uprising killed the former dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The country was divided by rival administrations, one in the east under military commander Khalifa Hifter and a UN-supported administration in the capital of Tripoli in the west. Local media reported that the coastal road linking the cities of Al-Khoms and Zlitan were closed as forces from Misrata affiliated with rival Prime Minister Fathi Bashagha moved towards Tripoli.
It's now time for sports news. Camnet Stars, who recently got promoted to First Division 2 League, played their first game of the season against Super Eagles, which saw Camnet Stars beat their opponents 2-0. The match was played Saturday afternoon at the Margaret Monacate grounds in Lusaka. And Camnet Stars head coach Elijah Chikwanda says the match was not easy, but managed to make an impact in the second half. Mr. Chikwanda has encouraged the players to work hard to ensure they win the league at the end of the tournament. And Camnet Stars captain Clement Chiwe says the game was not easy as this was the first game played in Division 2.
Game tuachite ya chikosa ni first game kulifu antatwate hapo division 2 so experience muri division 2 tatwa kwata hero ama opponents bari kwata experience mu division 2 so tachiba easy kulifu but second half tuachibwera according to the instructions ama coach wachitupera ama instruction ya alengere kutusanga magozi yonse abiri.
First thing first, I would like to say thank you for the good game that we had. Though the game was tough, but we have managed to win the game. Camnet, we are born for greatness. Thank you.
Come the opponents in the second half. I would like to even urge the players to continue working hard. I think that's all for now. We will see games which are coming in the near future.
Congratulations to Camnet Stars for their first victory in Division 2. To end the news, we take a look at stories making headlines once again. New Heritage Party President CHISHALA KATEKA calls for immediate short-term measures to lower the cost of living. Royal Highness Senior Chief MULENDEMA appeals for schools amidst free education. Zambia Anti-Tribalism Organization challenges police to arrest those reported for uttering tribal remarks. And in international news, Ethiopia forces accused of deadly attack as Tigray war escalates. In sports news, Camnet Stars beats BAULENI Super Eagles 2-0. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day, which is coming from Isaiah 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Thank you once again for watching the news. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.